So a few weeks ago in California, there was a very interesting occurrence. A former state senator, okay? In fact, she was the Senate Majority Leader in Sacramento, held a press conference and said, I'm switching from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party, and I'm going to vote for Donald Trump. The woman's name is Gloria Romero. She joins us now from Malibu, California. Not a bad place unless there's a fire. She's author of the book, Just Not That Likeable, The Price All Women Pay for Gender Bias. So your life must have been lively the last few weeks. Caught a lot of people by surprise, your announcement, right?
It did, but I think people who know me, and especially some of the fights that I've had with Sacramento to get back to some sense of normalcy and representing the working class and the middle class in California, I don't think they were as surprised as many others.
Okay, but you're a powerful Democrat in a state that's overwhelmingly Democrat. You're also a contemporary of Kamala Harris. I want to get into that in a moment. But when you say you're going to vote for Trump in California, that's like voting for the devil. I mean, have people shunned you because of that position?
In politics, you have to have a thick skin, and I do, believe me. So, yes, there have been some smears, but you'd be surprised. I've had a number of Democrats and others who have reached out to me to say, hey, we applaud what you did, and we're kind of thinking about that too, although maybe not as public.
Okay.
There's been a massive walk away from the Democratic Party, given the leadership of Gavin Newsom and in a state that was represented by Kamala Harris.
Well, California's in disarray. I mean, you're paying the highest prices for a gallon of gasoline in the country by far. People are leaving, and for my money, California is the most beautiful state in the union. I've been to every county. I mean, I've been up into Lessons County. I mean, it's just a fabulous place to live, or it used to be. But now the government, the Democratic government there, wants to control everything that people do. They don't particularly care about solving problems. All you have to do is go to San Francisco and look at the mess that city's in. Education is declining because they won't, the unions dominate. You won't throw over charter schools and all that. It's just on and on and on and on. Okay, so when did you first meet Kamala Harris?
I was in the California State Senate. I believe I first met her when she was district attorney and then later ran for attorney general. But one of the first interactions that I had with her is when she came to the Senate Public Safety Committee, which I then chaired. She was interested in running a piece of legislation, getting support for a bill that would go after truancy. Now, on the surface, this might sound good. But what was interesting was that she was focused on going after mostly these would be low income, probably mostly African American, Latina mothers whose kids were, I'm going to say, trapped in chronically failing schools in California, around which, when she became Attorney General, she did nothing about. In fact, if we look at those statistics, even today, Oakland schools, her hometown, 75% of Latino and African American children are not reading at basic levels of proficiency or doing math. And she exacerbated these chronically failing schools by going after a court victory. It was called the Vergara case.
All right, so what you're saying is that she put up some truancy bill, but she wasn't interested in the underlying causes of the failed education, which are gangs and teachers are afraid, and particularly in Oakland, which is totally out of control. Now, on balance, watching her, and correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Romero, you know a lot more about your state than I do. I see a machine politician, somebody who was elected in San Francisco as a district attorney, based on her connections with Willie Brown, former Speaker of the House in Sacramento, former mayor of San Francisco. They had an association, let me use that word, okay? She got into the Democratic machine. She's very articulate. And then she just kind of moved on up, like the old sitcom, The Jeffersons. Am I reading that wrong?
No, you have a perfect readership on this. It basically is it. I mean, party politics dominate. The most powerful force in the Democratic Party in California is the California Teachers Association, to which she hitched herself in going after the truant mothers, as well as basically trying to defeat that case that I described in at the Supreme Court level. She is the one, as Attorney General, who went after the parents and the kids who had won that victory to shut them down, thereby.
So she did the bidding of the union and put together a coalition of the willing. One of her pitches is she was very tough on the Mexican drug cartels in California. We can't find any evidence of that at all. None.
There's no evidence.
Okay, I'm glad you said that because I don't want to be wrong. She prosecuted cases that were brought to her by state and local authorities, but she didn't do anything unilaterally to fight this terrible menace that has devastated California. So I'm right on that?
Absolutely. And also, if you take a look at what's happening in California today with all of the rampant crime, the smash and grabs, you can't walk into a single like thrifty CVS and not find a barricade of plastic shelves behind which are products for sale. She is the one, as Attorney General, who wrote deceptively the title and summary of a measure which basically gave rise to this issue of you can steal up to $950 in California and basically not be punished with it.
That was a ballot measure.
California that summary.
California citizens are responsible too, but you're saying that she was behind the ballot measure, right?
Correct. As Attorney General, it was a very deceptive
That's not
summary.
really a crime fighter. All right, then she gets into D.C. as a senator. And again, we've investigated her Senate record. Nothing passed in 4 years. Didn't do anything that we can see to advance the welfare of the country. Did she do anything to help California while she was in Washington?
There are no results that we can say, take a look over here. I think it's hard for anybody to do it. She's known basically for her going after the Supreme Court justices for their potential appointment to the Supreme Court, but I don't think that her scrutiny of them is anything to write home about.
All right, but you were the Senate Majority Leader in Sacramento, and you know, when you're a senator, you're supposed to bring back some good stuff to your state. Do you see anything good that she brought to California in the 4 years she's in the Senate?
I'm sure there was some money that was funneled into California, but there isn't really anything that she was known for. It was quite clear when she first was running for the Senate, everybody knew it was going to be a short step, and then she was going to immediately start campaigning for the presidency.
Okay.
There were people who said she thinks she's the female Obama, and that's basically what everybody knew who supported her. She was being fast.
She has a base of support in Hollywood, in San Francisco, in Silicon Valley, very wealthy base of support, right? And that propelled her.
Correct.
Okay. Now, she gets to be vice president. And again, one of the big issues in your state is the border. I mean, you've got, you know, in Imperial County and San Diego County, you got absolute chaos there. Did she do anything to help California in those two counties?
No, in fact, we saw a video surfaced with her just recently, basically saying no deportation ever. Even President Obama was known as the deporter in chief.
Yeah.
And you contrast that with her video, basically her saying no deportation ever.
All right. So you guys in Sacramento didn't see any improvement, even though she's vice president and was tasked to improve things at the border. Is that a fair statement? You didn't see any improvement?
I don't think it's there's no improvement at all. I think what it is she was not focused on California. She was focused at that time in getting a national name so she could establish herself to run for the presidency. That's really where it was.
But I understand that. But when you're tasked with improving things at the border and you're from California and California's under siege, you would think that there would be something that she would do to help you guys. Okay, final question on her, and then I have one more question for you. So Kamala Harris is a very shrewd woman, all right, who's now portraying herself as a moderate, that she wants to bring everybody together. When you see those spots, knowing her and her history, what goes through your mind?
It's just an artificial construction. It's Hollywood. It's a script. It's a narrative. It's not the truth. And sadly, I think for most of us who have been in politics and seen this, we've seen how, aided by a mainstream media and a very powerful machine that does not want America first, they are aiding and abetting the creation of an anybody but Trump candidate.
Yeah, so
this is it.
They're mythologizing the vice president so Trump will lose. Do you have any hesitancy at all with your long history of Democratic politics of voting for Donald Trump?
Not at all. I think in looking at it, I think it's very much wanting to restore America first. It is wanting to have a thriving economy. I believe in pathways to citizenship, but this border czar has completely made a mockery out of what citizenship means with a completely open border.
Right.
As a woman, I find it extremely offensive that apparently the Democratic Party today can't define a woman. I'm sorry, but men cannot get pregnant. We don't need tampons in boys' bathrooms. Title IX has been eviscerated, and there has been no comments from Kamala Harris on any of these issues at all. So I'm looking forward to a Trump presidency. There has been a great walkaway, especially among groups like Latinos, of which I'm Latina. Many of us are walking away saying this is not the party.
Trump is doing much better with Latinos. Well, we appreciate your candor, Ms. Romero. It's very refreshing for somebody like me who's used to politicians being kind of disingenuous. So thank you very much for appearing. And the book, again, is Just Not That Likeable: The Price All Women Pay for Gender Bias. Okay, I hope we can talk again soon. Thank you, madam. We appreciate it. Hey, you didn't vote for this economy. I know I didn't, but we all pay for it at the pump, the grocery store, and through that stack of unpaid bills. Financial stress is crushing. So what's the solution? DoneWithDebt.com. Unlike others, Done With Debt has new aggressive strategies that free you from debt without bankruptcy or loans. They will negotiate with your creditors so that you'll have more money in your pocket on month one and every month until you're debt-free. And the best news? Done With Debt is accepting new clients, but don't wait. Some of their best debt strategies are time sensitive. Let Done With Debt hit the debt reset button for you and make your money yours again. Don't forget, this is time sensitive, so visit donewithdebt.com or call 888-322-1054. Chat with some of their debt relief strategists for free. Go to donewithdebt.com. That's donewithdebt.com. Vivek Ramaswamy, he's got a new book out tomorrow, The Truth, The Future of America First. And you know him, I don't have to give you a long bio on him. If Trump's elected, he will get a cabinet position. I am almost 100% on that. Okay, so first of all, I'm going to get to your book, but in my little run-up here, anything you object to? Was I over the top in any way?
No, I mean, I think you explored a lot of issues with nuance in the polling side of things. It's worth noting one trend, Bill, just to see, as I know you mentioned the NBC polls, they polled more women than men. The only thing I'd add is in the last several election cycles, you have seen greater turnout for women relative to men as well. That's different from what it was 50 years ago. So I'm just a big fan on our side of not being complacent. I do think complacency is one of the big risks we could have heading into this election. It's what happened in 2022. We didn't have a red wave in 2022. And I'm worried we're at risk of something similar in 2024 unless we actually step up and articulate our own vision of who we are and what we actually stand for. And that's actually the main call to action in the book that I just wrote and releasing as well. We got to step up.
The book is preaching to the choir on a traditional conservative viewpoint, which of course nothing wrong with that. Did you get any bookings on ABC, NBC, or CBS? Did any of them invite you?
I'm going to be on CNN tomorrow morning. And actually one of the things that I'm trying.
I got on CNN. CBS,
not
NBC, or ABC?
No, they, it's a very interesting media landscape.
What
I am trying to do, Bill, It's totally. One of the things I'm trying to do is I'm going to college campuses because I care about not just preaching to the choir. I actually care about at least presenting the right arguments to people who think they're on the other side, but actually when they're challenged to engage in open debate, may actually have a very different view than they thought they did.
And that's a good thing. Just
college
be
campuses
careful.
are a good place to do that.
Don't go to Columbia. I mean, you know where to go. But the point of the matter is, 2 points I want to make to you. The polling services know that Kamala Harris is going to get the majority of female votes in this country. So therefore, very quietly, they're polling more women than men to skew the poll results. They know it. I know it. And then, of course, my viewers and listeners know it now. The second thing is CBS, NBC, and ABC, huge conglomerates, black out, refuse to book any non-liberal author. My book, as you know, is opening #1 this coming Sunday on the New York Times bestsellers. Far and away, the best-selling nonfiction book in the world at this point. Okay? I also bring ratings to wherever I go. All right? There's no business decision that would exclude me. It's all ideology. And somebody like you, who's deeply involved in the Trump campaign, who obviously campaigned to be president himself, all right, should be a natural booking on the Today Show, Good Morning America, on all of the late night shows, and you can't get in. I'm telling you, if you guys win the Trump, you got to take a look at this, because I'm going back to Teddy Roosevelt with the monopoly situation here. This is wrong. But anyway, let's get to
you know what's remarkable is we have to restore that culture of open debate in this country, and we can't have it. I want all views represented. I wouldn't want a conservative administration working with conservative media companies through the back door to make sure that the only views that were heard were your and my views.
That's right.
America's built on diversity of thought. It's actually part of what this whole book is about, Bill, is I want to give everyday conservatives, to not forget the media. How do we do it in ordinary life? The goal of this book is to arm conservatives, but people on our side, to actually talk to their friends. And yes, I do still use the word friends on the left, be they family or friends, at the dinner table, but to have enough courage to be armed with the facts and the arguments on the touchiest questions, from climate change to the transgender debate to racial agendas. How do you talk about the touchy issues where you may face risk of cancellation, but to do it with such precision that nobody's going to be able to penalize you for what you said, but to the contrary, we might actually win over some hearts and minds, as I believe I've had the chance to do over the last year. That's what this book is about, is allowing every American to be able to do the same thing.
So I got two contentions with you.
Sure.
So I open a book, and the first chapter is God is real. Okay. I believe that. I sit through boring sermons every Sunday in the Catholic Church. So, I mean, it's kind of, me, I'm come on, you can do better than that. I believe God is real, but I believe what I want to believe. Now, I wrote Killing Jesus, and I know what happened there. But you're stating for a fact that God is real, and you know that a large portion of the population is going to say, no, he's not. There's no proof of that. How do you answer that?
Yeah, so there's a few things I do in that chapter. The first thing I make clear is this is not the job of the government to enforce. But the question is our culture worse off because of the widespread of secular atheism as a new kind of religion in the country? Yes, it is. And the truth of the matter is we don't have hostility towards atheists in this country today. But what we do have is an increasing hostility to persons of faith, limiting their religious liberty. My view, Bill, I don't know if you share this view, but my view is I don't care if you want to get married, who you want to marry. The government should not stand in your way as long as you know what, they're not forcing you to actually officiate somebody's wedding who you don't believe in. Yet that's exactly what's happening. Is the reverse of that is happening, is they're forcing people who don't want to participate in functions that run against their religious convictions.
Sure.
So one of the points I make in that chapter, we need to restore religious liberty. And part of, especially amongst young people, what's missing is we do have this missing vacuum in the heart of a generation who wants to believe in something bigger than themselves, yet they can't even answer what it means to be an American or whether or not they believe in a higher power.
Yeah, they know nothing about theology, and that's a parental dereliction. The second thing that caught my attention was global warming is not real. But it is real. I mean, you know it is because you can.
Well, so I didn't say that quite. Yeah, I didn't say that quite. It's close. I said the climate change agenda is a hoax, is what I said in there.
But it's not going to be taken that way. When I was reading it, I went, is he a climate denier? Now, I just want to tell you how I know. So I went to Alaska, and I went to Glacier Bay, one of those beautiful places on Earth, okay? And the guys are taking me out like they always do whenever I go anywhere. People who work there. And I said, well, what's the situation? He go, well, we lost about 35% of the glacier because the temperatures are warmer. And where I live on the ocean, I can see the change in what has happened here. So global warming is real. Now, the political agenda attached to it, you're absolutely correct. So they're trying to use,
so if I may, Bill, this is great
trying
issue.
to use
great
climate change to impose socialism. That's what they're trying to do. Go.
So the one thing on the science, though, and this is where I really aim to break this down in the book, and I hope people benefit from it, is I asked the question, let's break this down into 4 questions. One is, are global surface temperatures going up? Yes, they are. The second question is, are we sure that is due to man-made causes? It appears to be highly correlated. Are we sure it's due to increased carbon dioxide? There we have less certainty. There's only 0.04% of the atmosphere that's carbon dioxide today, which is a relative low over the course of the history of the Earth. It's almost at an all-time low. Then you ask the question that nobody asked, Bill, but this is the one that really matters, and I hit hard in the book. Are we sure that increasing surface temperatures by a little bit is necessarily a bad thing for human beings? And actually, the counterintuitive thing we learned through a lot of the facts I lay out in the book is, actually, there are some positive effects of slightly increasing global surface temperatures. Here's one. It's a fact that 8 times as many people die of cold temperatures rather than warm ones. So way more people die of cold temperatures than warm ones. A slight increase in global surface temperatures actually means fewer temperature-related deaths. Here's another fact. The Earth is more covered by green surface area, by plants, today than it was a century ago, because plants grow in not only warmer climates, but carbon dioxide released in the atmosphere is actually plant food. Plants actually take that back up, creating what's called a greening effect on the planet. The funny thing many people watching your program may remember is back in the 1970s, the thing that climate scientists worried about was not global warming. Back then, they worried about a global ice age because more people have actually died of ice ages in human history than have ever died of warming. And so the question is, against the backdrop of, are there going to be some negatives to surface temperatures going up? Yes. But are there also some positives? The answer also there is yes. It is far from clear, let alone certain, that that net effect is actually net negative. And for that, we're asked to change our entire modern way of life, by the way, only in the West, without asking places like China to do the same thing.
Right.
That's why I said the climate change agenda
is very provocative and thought-provoking, and that's the bottom line on your book. So the book comes out tomorrow. It's called Truths, The Future of America First. And even if you don't subscribe to Mr. Ramaswamy's point of view, it's a very provocative book. So it'll get you thinking about a number of situations, because each chapter is a different subject. It's not just a diatribe of conservative thought. So anyway, Vivek, thank you for helping us out. We appreciate it. If you ever got anything on your mind, you just let us know, which put you right back on. All right? Good luck with the book.
Tell me what your audience thinks of the book, and we'll come back to talk about it. Thank you, Bill.
Cheers.
I appreciate it.
Right. The Biden-Harris economy continues to burden the average American. With flat wages, higher prices, people are covering expenses with credit cards. And if you're a homeowner and frustrated with that cycle, you can make a 10-minute no-obligation call today with my friends at American Financing. Interest rates are coming down. They are now in the low 5s. And if you're constantly carrying a credit card balance each month with a rate in the 20s, American Financing can help put your hard-earned equity to work to get out of debt. Their salary-based mortgage consultants are saving customers an average of $800 a month. And if you get started today, you may not have to make next month's mortgage payment. So please call American Financing today at 888-462-9557, 888-462-9557, or visit AmericanFinancing.net. Folks, life is precious, you know that. which is why I keep my Patriot Supplies 4-week emergency food kit here at home. I've got everything my family could need, with more than 2,000 calories a day and shelf life of 25 years. It's ready with enough to go around for whenever the next disaster strikes. And you know it will. Now, we've seen mass panic, some not that long ago in the streets. I'm not going to take my family's safety for granted, are you? Right now, you can get $50 off the same 4-week emergency food kit supply that I have in my house. Go to preparelikebill.com. Save $50 on your 4-week emergency food kit, and My Patriot Supply will send it over as fast as humanly possible. Trust me, my order showed up in 1 day, and it shipped free. Get your 4-week emergency food kit now at preparelikebill.com. That's preparelikebill.com. Okay, now, one of the things that I have emphasized here on this broadcast is that you need 3 things in your life to prosper. You need a good financial advisor. You need an attorney you can get on the phone who cares about you, but most of all, you need a doctor who cares about you. So the Cleveland Clinic, very fine. If you get in health trouble, Cleveland Clinic is someplace you should look at. They put out a survey. Listen to this. 37% of Gen Z, that goes up to 27 years old, men, Gen Z men, do not have a doctor. 37%. Millennial, 28-43, 27%. Gen X, 44-59, 17. Baby boomers, 7. So a substantial minority in this country don't have a doctor. They don't go to get examined. 61% of Gen X and boomers get a yearly physical. 32% of millennials and Gen Z do. Okay, you want to die soon before your time? Ignore the doctor. Period. Smart Life. Insurify. Get your pen and, I always say, pen and pad when you're watching the No Spin News. Insurance rates, it's nothing like I've ever seen in my lifetime. Insurance companies gouging, it's crazy. Crazy. And the reason is that during COVID and with some of the storms, insurance companies that pay out, now they're trying to make it up by jacking everybody's insurance rates on home and car, which you got to have, way up through the ceiling. So we have found a website, all right? Insurify. Now, the website is compare, the word compare, .insurify, INSURIFY.com. Compare.insurify.com. It's free. You go there, you fill it, about 10 minutes, they give you stuff to fill out so they know what you're looking for, all right? And then they come back and they give you comparisons of different companies. What do you got to lose? And you could save a bundle. Now, if you see something on Insurify, you got to check it out yourself. You don't want to be going to Ziggy's insurance company. Okay? You got to check it out. But this is a very good measure in the Smart Life segment. Okay? Looking out for you. Thank you for watching the No Spin News. To watch the full episode anytime on BillO'Reilly.com, please sign up to become a premium or concierge member. Visit BillO'Reilly.com to sign up and start watching today.